My sister said in court. This house is mine now. My parents were smiling with happiness that I stayed silent. Then the judge said, this is just 1 out of 12. Where are the other 11? At that moment, an odd kind of silence settled over the courtroom, as if someone had turned off the air conditioner and everyone suddenly became aware of their own breathing. My sister's lips remained slightly parted. My mother's smiling face froze for a moment, like a paused image. My father loosened the knot of his tie, the same move he always made when things started slipping out of his control. I was sitting in the back row. The wooden bench was hard, but I felt the weight in my chest more than anything else. I was silent, the way I had decided to be from the start. Silence had been my only shelter, at home, at work, and now here, in court. I understand now that none of this began with a house. It started years earlier, when I got my first full-time job, when I paid my own bills for the first time, and when I learned that if you're the responsible one in a family, people turn that into a habit. My sister was always the lucky one. To my parents, she was fragile, someone who needed protection. I was the sensible one. The one who could adjust. The one who could wait. When my parents suggested we invest in property together, it sounded simple enough. It's just paperwork, my mother said, making coffee in the kitchen. It'll be in both your names. I asked questions, about loans, taxes, repairs. My sister rolled her eyes, like I always ruined the mood. In the end, I agreed. I always did. One house turned into another. Then another. I picked up extra shifts. I cancelled vacations before they even started. I downgraded my health insurance plan. I stood by the small window of my apartment, looking out at the city, telling myself it was all for the future. I didn't tell anyone about the nights I sat with a calculator, adding and subtracting numbers, carrying a quiet fear that if something went wrong, it would all land on me. And something did go wrong. When the market shifted, when tenants started paying late, when repair bills piled up, the story changed. Suddenly, my sister spoke as if the houses were hers. This one's mine, she'd say. My parents laughed. I still didn't say anything. I wasn't trying to win a fight. I just wanted things to be clear. When I lost my job, it was the first time I truly felt how unstable the ground could be. I called my father. He said, this isn't a good time. We'll talk later. My sister texted, don't be so negative. I hung up and sat down on the floor of my apartment. That was the day I realized silence isn't always protection. Sometimes, it pushes you deeper into the dark. I didn't decide to go to court out of anger. I organized files. I attached receipts. I highlighted bank statements. I told myself I would stick to the truth. No drama. No shouting. Just facts. My sister testified with confidence. This house is mine now. She didn't even look at me. My parents sat behind her, nodding as if they were listening to a victory speech. I stayed quiet, because I knew my moment would come, or maybe the judges would. Then came the question. This is 1 out of 12, where are the other 11? The question landed like an arrow. Papers rustled across the courtroom. My lawyer glanced at me, just a slight movement, as if to say, now. I stood up. My knees shook, but my voice didn't. I placed a folder on the table. They're all here, I said. No speech. Just evidence. 1 file per house. Each file told the same story, where the money came from, who took the loan, who made the payments. My parents' expressions changed. My sister looked at me for the first time, really looked at me. There wasn't anger in her eyes. There was surprise. Maybe it was the first time she understood that silence doesn't mean weakness. The decision didn't come that day. When it did, it was simple. Ownership was divided. So was responsibility. Some houses had to be sold. Some were placed in my name. There was no dramatic victory. Just a steady sense of relief. Outside the courtroom, a woman stopped me. She'd probably been there from the first day. She said, "You did the right thing." That was all. I nodded. In that single sentence, I found a kind of strength I hadn't felt in years. Bills still arrive. My job situation isn't fully settled yet. But when I walk into my small apartment now, I hear my own footsteps, no longer heavy, but firm. I know now that revenge isn't always about taking something from someone else. Sometimes, it's about taking yourself back.